Hello guys, just give me a minute please. I am just trying to share the link. There is some problem with the streaming right now with the YouTube. I am just trying to reconnect and hold on. Yes, Yogaraj and Vishal, hi. I'm just trying to make sure that everything is working fine. Give me some time, guys. So I'm just trying to get the next game for you. And next game, actually, Abhishek had requested to get his game. So we started with Abhishek's game, but he had already lost couple of pieces against one of the good players. So we have switched on to the next game right now. So I'm just making sure that voice is clear. Okay, so Yogaraj and Vishal, can you just confirm if you are able to listen to the commentary clearly now? And let's try to pick up the next game. Let's try to pick up a game from. Okay, so Jilani is requesting to get his game analyzed. Let's try to find Jilani's game. And Jilani is playing against Vinavi. So Vinavi is from Sri Lanka. She is the captain of Warriors team. Only four players playing from that team today. But anyways, let's try to find out the game. Uh, okay, so Vishal, is the yes is for audio and video both are clear, no issues with both of them. Just let me know, please. Okay, let's check what happened in the open, guys. So e4, e5, d3. D3 is not the best way to start, but that's fine. Let's check what happened. Game knight f6, knight to c3, c5, pawn to h3, then d6, bishop to e2, and knight to c6. This is going to be a symmetrical kind of game or a locked game wherein both players will have to fight to get some advantage in the game. So bishop takes, and we have bishop takes c3, then we have and now castles. So in such positions, the plan is to put. So look at closed pawn chain. So this bishop is a bad. Should have been ideally on this b5 or c4 square, wherein this bishop could be attacking position. But right now, bishop not in squares. You should not lock your bishop in this way. So now the plan should be to put the knight on e1 and try to play this f4 move, and then play f5. Then probably play g4, g5 attack the black's castle. Then put the king safely on h2, get the rook to g1, get another rook to this f1, and try to get the queen going on over here. Okay, just try to attack as much as possible. So let's plan in this case, guys. If you're playing on one side anytime, just try to plan in this way. Then we have knight to e7, and after knight to e7, we have okay. So I can see a comment from Vishal. Vishal says yes, there is a bit of lag for the video, but audible. Okay, now the stream is stuck again. Oh, that's pathetic. Let me check. Yes, Yogaraj and Vishal, hi. I'm just trying to make sure that everything is working. Hello guys, I'm back. I was just waiting for actually getting some issues resolved. I think I am back online right now. So guys, are you able to hear me? I can see a comment from Archana Sharma and also from Vishal, but the stream is stuck. Okay, wait, stream. Guys, just give me a couple of minutes, guys. I'm just trying to get something fixed here. Okay, let me try to continue the stream. I hope it works for me today. I'm not sure what's happening, but it's not working for me, guys. So let's try to find the next game. So Jilani is was the one who actually has requested the game. So Jilani is online right now. Let's try to find out his game with Advocate Rajiv. And okay, so E4 D5. It's called as a Scandinavian defense. This E4 D5 is called as a Scandinavian defense, and we have E5 played. E5 is kind of the French defense of the advanced variation of the French defense. This is what the E5 relates to when the E5 is played. And then we have pawn to E6, pawn to F4, pawn knight to C6. So knight to C6 is not the best move here, Jilani. If you are listening to this commentary later in the game, or later when you are listening to this video or watching this video, pawn to C5 has to be played here. Make sure that you are attacking this d4 square and putting more pressure on this d4 square by playing knight c6 and putting the queen to b6, and then making sure that there is no way this d4 pawn can be recaptured by uh, d4 square can be recaptured by white here. So we are just trying to get this some tips for you, Mr. Chilani. So you had to play knight c6 here, not knight c6, pawn c5 here. Okay, so we have knight c6 played, knight to f3, knight to e7, bishop to b5, pawn to a6, bishop takes b6, c6, knight takes c6 and castles, bishop d7, pawn d4, and bishop e7, pawn to c3, castles, and we have bishop to e3 now. Black can try for this f6 and f takes e5 break so that he can get an open file. But look at this knight. It's placed in such a way that it has to go to a5 and then to c4. But b3 will just take all his squares away. So c5 had to be played in between as an intermediate move, which would have attacked the d4 square. So always remember from black side, if you have this pawn structure, f7, e6, and c5, d5, make sure you play c5 also and exchange on this d4 square. Put the queen out on b6 or even a5 here, which will help you to actually attack more. Okay, so don't put this pawn on c7, just it has to go come to the c5 square. So bishop to e3 was played, knight to a7 and knight to d2. Then we have rook to c8, rook to c1, pawn to c. Finally, we can see a c5 move, and I'm very happy to see the c5 move. So we have h3, pawn to c4. No, again this locking up. Don't lock up this position, queenside position, because once you put your pawn here, this bishop is going to be a bad bishop. It has no square to attack. It cannot go anywhere which can attack on any of the white pieces here. So bishop to b5 can be played here right now. Then the bishop can go to d3 and it might come to e4 or f5 or g6, anywhere, whichever square is comfortable for you. For example, bishop b5 now, the rook will be attacked. So rook will now move to the e1 square, then the bishop can be put on d3, and once this knight moves somewhere, then this bishop can be brought to g6 and kept safe there. And suddenly this bishop, which was a bad piece, it comes on g6 and becomes a superior piece, which will put a lot of pressure on this queen side. So this maneuvering of your bad pieces to the good positions is something that you have to learn in the middle game as a middle game technique, guys. So don't forget this, that your bad pieces are good for your opponent. So always make sure bad pieces are not there on the board, and every piece has your attacking chances, equal attacking chances on the chessboard. So pawn to c4 was played. This bishop is going to be in a miserable position right now after this. So then we have knight to h2 and pawn to b5, and then we have queen to h5 and pawn to f6, knight to f3, queen to e8. So some way this queen can now, but here actually black had chance to put the bishop on e8 and come to g6, then probably can go to e4 or attack in this diagonal. So queen is offered right now. So we have queen takes queen, the rook takes queen, and pawn takes f6, bishop takes f6, and knight to g4. So knight g4 is actually nicely placed. Now e5 is something which he must be eyeing right now. Both the knights are beautifully supporting the e5 square, and even from g5, g4, it is critically attacking h6 and f6 position. So I can see comments from Aditya and Vishal. So Aditya, Vishal, hope you both like to play chess as well. I'll be happy if you're able to join this live tournament. You can play for my team, Khelo Chess India. So we have knight to c6 now, and knight is trying to come back into the game right now after spending a lot of time putting the knight on c6, getting it to a7. Again, it has to come to c6. So never ever put your knight c6 directly. First play c5 and then put your knight c6. Then this circus can be avoided of taking the knight to a7 and back to c6. Okay, then we have knight to e5, bishop takes e5, pawn takes e5. So here white prefers an open f file over the open e file, because if knight takes e5, then again knight takes e5, and this is going to be closed again. Right now capturing with the pawn might be a good idea, because this knight is then stuck on c6. It cannot just come to a better score right away. It has to come to e7, try to go to the f5, but that can be kicked away by playing the g4 move. So let's see what happened in the game. Rook takes f1, rook takes f1, rook to f8, rook takes, rook king takes, and bishop goes to c1 now, pawn to h6, so that this bishop can't sit here on the g5 square. Of course, there is no direct threat of bishop coming to g5. And I can see a comment from Sunil. Hi, Sunil, good to see you back after so many days. So Sunil, we have a few international audience also with us who watch the live broadcast after the broadcast is over. So we have to stick to English so that everyone can understand. So Sunil, your suggestion is to talk in Hindi. I'll try, but it might not help our international viewers. Whatever questions you have, you can put in the comment section. I'll try to explain them in Hindi if possible. So you are always free to ask the questions and queries in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer them, Sunil. Okay, so yeah, this was a position where h6 was played, and then we have king to f2, king to f7, king to f3, knight to e7, and knight now goes to e3. But now in this position, it's very difficult, guys, to decide what to play. We have opposite color bishops in the endgame, and look at these pawns. Okay, these pawns are very much in a bad position, because not pawns are not in a bad position. They are in a nice pawn chain, but this bishop actually has become a bad bishop. I had explained in this beginning of this game that this bishop had to go to b5, then to this d3, and come back to g6 in order to get the bishop in a good square. But right now, this bishop is not working at all. So some way black had to play this bishop e8, and then he would have put the bishop on g6. From g6 it could have been gone to e4 or even to the b1 square attacking the a2 pawn. But right now this bishop is not useful. Probably what black can do is try to play this a5, but black would just play a3 and stop this b4 move. So let's see what happened in the game now. Pawn to a5, pawn to g4, and pawn to b4. Pawn takes, and now actually white has a chance to create a passer in the a file by pushing the a3 pawn, and king has to make sure that he is nearby to these pawns so that one of these pawns cannot be passed, and black will not get a queen. So we have knight to c2 now and knight to c6. So knight is very well placed now. Knight can attack this a d4 pawn and also threaten to play this b3 pawn, so that a takes b3, queen takes b3, knight would be dislodged. This pawn will be attacking knight, so knight has to move. If knight goes to a square like a3, then knight can capture the pawn on d4 and win easily then. Okay, so we have bishop to d2 played, and we have pawn to b3, pawn takes pawn. This is what I think white missed here. d4 pawn was hanging, so knight moves, and we have knight takes d4, king to d3, and knight c2 check. So this is the second, not the blunder, but I think this fork should not be allowed. When you play king to f3, you have to think couple of times. Why should I bring my king to the e3 square? Because this is a fork which is available for black knight. So king was played to e3, then knight c2 check, and knight takes c2, pawn takes c2. Although this pawn is about to queen, but it's opposite colored bishops with dark squared bishop of white controlling the c1 square, and this light squared bishop cannot help this pawn to get to the c1 square. It can just support it, probably by playing a move like bishop a4 and supporting this. Okay, then we have king to d3 and bishop to a4. We have king to c3, and now b3 is going to be very much powerful, guys, here. So we have bishop to c2, bishop to b5, and king takes c2, king to g6, king to c3, pawn to h5, pawn takes, king takes, and king to d4, king to g6 again, king to c5, and bishop is now being attacked on b5, so bishop a6, king d6, and now king to f5, supporting this base pawn. And this pawn, I think, is something which this king has allowed to be passed. But let's see how the game progress. b4 was played, d4 is played now, and bishop to d2, sorry, bishop to c1, pawn to d3, bishop to d2 again, and king to pawn to g6, pawn to h4, bishop to c5. And this is actually a draw position, which draw position are not exactly a draw, but this pawn on b it has to be tactically very strong pawn. If you just go back a couple of moves here, and this was the position. Okay, so here if black wants to draw, black can just go for this bishop takes b5, king takes b5, king takes e5, king c4, and yeah, king c4 is actually not winning for. It's not drawing for. I'm just thinking about bishop takes, king takes, and this king can go to the g4 and try to attack this pawn, but this bishop will just support it, and we cannot play d2 because king is in time to capture this d3 pawn by coming to the c4 square after bishop takes b5. So probably bishop movement was the right way to continue. So king to d6, and we have bishop to b7 back again, and pawn to c3, bishop to d5, and bishop to d2. So it's a long battle which is going on between these two pawns and these two bishops. Actually, now this b7 is threatened because if bishop takes b7, then we have king takes e6. King can then move to this f7 square, and this pawn can be pushed very quickly, or even king can capture this g6 square if possible. Meanwhile, black will just try to go on to the e2 square, attack this bishop. If bishop moves, then pawn can be pushed, bishop takes and king takes, but this king will be active as compared to the king on the e2 square because it will be supporting all of its remaining passes, and it can also attack this g6 pawn very quickly. So slightly white seems to be better in this position. Let's see what happened. So king f5 was played again, and king to c7. So this giving away e5 pawn is not the good idea because bishop takes b7 can be played here. Okay, if want, yeah, Bishan, that's okay. Black will be okay with this move because he has two passers over here, and this king is very far away. It cannot just come and stop this d3 pawn after capturing this pawn. Now king can go here, try to capture this pawn. If bishop supports, then you can just push the pawn. If bishop takes, then king takes pawn, and then two pawns are there which can be helped by this king to the queening squares. So king takes b7, king to f5, king to c6, pawn to e5, king to d5, pawn to e4, king to d4, and king to g4. So bishop now goes to g5, supporting the h4 pawn, and we have king to c6. So black has very smartly and very actively gained this tempo of attacking the pawn and quickly jumping onto this f3 square. By jumping to this f3 square, actually it gets closer to this queening square of the pawn. Okay, it also supports all these squares where this pawn cannot be stopped right away. So that is a very nice tempo gained by black here. So king to f3, and then we have bishop to h6, and king again comes to g4, bishop to g5, king to f6, and bishop again goes to e3, bishop e3, and then we have king takes d5. Finally a pawn falls there, and king takes pawn, and king takes pawn. This should be a draw. Actually, yeah, it was a draw, but a well fought draw. There were some winning chances for both the players, but Jilani, uh, suggestion for you that always try to put your pawn on c5 before you play knight c6 if you like to play this pawn structure of e6 d5, which is a French defense pawn structure. E6, d5, and c5 is the normal way of playing this opening. This is the French defense. So always remember, put your pawn on c5 and then play knight c6 in the opening. If you just, I'll show you the nc6 move. I think most of us have already, yeah. So n6, nc6, yeah, this move. So don't play nc6 here. play c5 and then play knight c6, then play queen b6 and try to attack on the queen side as much as possible. So that's the way how to play. So Afsha Sheikh says it's that this is my game. So Afsha, what is your ID? Can you share your ID, please, Afsha? Let's go back to tournament now and try to find the next requesters. The next request is from who is requesting? Okay, so play good moves is requested. Okay, Superman is also requested. Superman 1807 and anyone else? Anyone else? No, I think just Superman and then we have play good moves. So let's check Superman's game. Superman 1807. So let's check his game. Superman 1807. He has played 3 games. He has won against Sunil. So let's check how Superman played against Sunil here. The game is loading up and this is the game, guys. So Superman is playing from black side and Sunil is playing from white side. So knight f3, knight f6, pawn to d4, pawn to g6, pawn to c3, bishop to g7, knight to d2, castles, pawn to e4. So this is kind of perk defense, not yet perk defense. D6 will prove that it is a perk. Sicilian. This has gone into accelerated dragon variation, guys, from starting with the knight f3 and knight f6. Once this e4 came and the c5 is on the board, it is a Sicilian defense. And in this case, this is called as the accelerated dragon because this is a dragon variation where the bush bishop is put on g7, knight is put on f6, and you castle on the king side. So it's a dragon variation without d6. So it's an accelerated dragon. So let's check what happened. Pawn to e5, knight to e8. Okay, and pawn to d5, pawn to d6. And now many a times black players run into fear that these two pawns are too much advanced and my all pieces are cramped right now. They are not able to come out. But there is nothing to worry because once you try to destroy these two pawns are target for you as black. So you never should lose any confidence when you're playing against this pawn structure from black side. Even though these pieces are inside, there is some chance which will help you to open up the position and get your pieces on the good squares. So we have pawn d6 here, knight to c4, pawn takes e5, knight takes e5, and knight d7. So in 2 moves, you can see that it's completely open position. Okay, so Afsha, I can see Jilani is your ID. So Afsha, good to see you on the live stream as well as your game. It was a beautiful game. It was a long opposite colored bishop battle, and we enjoyed that battle very much. So thanks for providing us such a nice game, Afsha. I hope to see you back soon with the second game, probably today or tomorrow. So bishop to f4, knight to f6, and we have bishop to c4, knight to c7, and castles and pawn to b5. Pawn to d6, pawn takes d6, and knight to c6, queen d7, bishop takes d6. So just keeping a couple of moves back here, there were a lot of weaknesses in black's camp here. So d6 was hanging, and queen is hanging, so b5 is hanging. So black played queen d7, but bishop takes d6 is stronger now. Even bishop takes b5 was a nice move. I could have played bishop takes b. Oh, bishop takes b5 is defended actually by knight, so you cannot capture this pawn. I'm sorry, guys. D6 was hanging. Now d6 is attacking this queen, as well as this knight over here on c7. So pawn takes c4. The bishop was captured on c4. Bishop takes f8. So white was ready to give away 2 bishops for his for the rooks for the rook. Okay, so he gave away this c4 bishop and he's also now giving away the this d6 bishop on f8. So rooks for 2 bishops for a rook. I am not happy with it. Actually, you should not go for that variation. So pawn takes bishop, bishop takes f8, queen takes queen, rook takes, and we have bishop takes f8, knight to e5, and we have bishop to e6 supporting this c4 pawn as this knight has attacked now. We have pawn to f3 and knight to d4, knight to d5, rook to e1, and rook to c8. So this bishop is guarding this e7 square, or there could have been a nice fork over here for this rook to be out of the board. But we have a well defended e7 square. Rook knight takes a7 now, rook to a8, knight c6. Although a2 pawn is now hanging, but this knight is temporarily supporting this other knight which is on a7. So knight to f4 and pawn to a3. The a3 pawn is now safe. Knight to d3. But meanwhile, black knight has scored, we can say, a very good score here, because the reason is that this d3 square is very much like an outpost. An outpost is a square where opponent's pieces cannot drag you away. I can see a comment from Bitopan Sharma. Hello, Bitopan. Good to see you back on the live stream. Hope everything is well, safe and sound at your home. So, knight to d3 is one of the best quests. D3 is one of the outposts for this knight, which this knight can enjoy actually. So, knight d3 is very nice move, and this knight maneuver from d5, you have to learn this, guys. So, in this position, first point is that black should identify that his knight should sit on this d3 square from where it can attack all the critical squares of white. So knight went to this f4, and then it came to this d5, and now the second knight can join him on d5 and f4 again. And again it can support, it can again put some pressure here. So black is going to have a good game here, guys. Okay, so rook was saved here, and bishop now goes to d7. Now this knight is attacked, and this knight is also under attack. So white has to be a little bit careful here. So rook to d2, and now knight to h5. So knight is coming via this route to f4 square. Probably g3 might stop it, but knight actually d5 was probably a better move. Yep. So let's check now. So pawn to g3 was played, bishop h3, and now this rook is under attack. So pawn f4 or knight e7 check. Okay. King to g7, and we have rook to e2. Rook takes a7, a free knight there. So this actually check was not necessary, I think. So this check was not necessary. Directly, I think this rook e2 could have been played to just get this e7 pawn supported. Then probably knight e7 check, king moves to g7, and knight to c6 could be played, so that this knight, these both knights can be uh, they can be saved. They were right now they were just trapped on those c6 and a7 squares. So probably rook e2 was a better move if I'm not wrong. Then we have knight to e7 check, king g7, and we have rook to e2. Rook takes a7, a free knight there on a7 now, and this will put white on the back foot. And this is where actually white resigned. Clearly white is having still having two rooks, but look at this knight, a beautifully placed knight. And this concept is called as IMR, that is improve, maneuver and regroup. I'm just going back to this position wherein this knight was put on the d3 square. So this was a position, guys, wherein you have to identify this d3 square, and then you have to use the technique of I, M and R. I for improve, M for maneuver, and R for regroup. So improve means you have to improve your position using the maneuvering technique. The maneuvering is the way of, how do you define maneuvering? Maneuvering is the way you have to move a certain piece in the game. So in this case, knight's route, you have to find a route for this maneuvering. Knight can come to f4 and then come to d3. This is something which should be in your mind when you're thinking, how will my knight reach d3, which is the best route for d3. This is called as the maneuvering. And after it reaches d3, which are the other pieces which can help him? Probably this knight can come to d5, it can come to f4, or this rook can be attacking on b8. If this rook knight is not there, then this knight can be attacking this b2, and rook can be attacking this b2 square. But this knight, of course, this knight should not be on c6. But that is the technique of I, M and R which you have to learn. Improve, maneuver and regroup. Okay, let's now go to the tournament and try to check the next move, next game. Okay, so Queen Love actually has, okay, Jilani, we have done your analysis, and Jilani we have done Superman's, and then let's see who has requested. Then we have a request from Queen Love underscore 09. Let's check the game. Queen Love underscore 09. Yeah, Queen Love underscore 09 is online, and it's playing against SRB 96. SRB is also a regular follower, and let's check what happened in the game. So d4, knight f6, c4, e5. Okay, guys, so this is the Budapest gambit, the e5 here, and this is one of the aggressive gambits from black side, from the black's position. So if you want to practice something, if you want to find something new opening, aggressive opening, you can go for this gambit e5. But the problem is that if you prepare Budapest defense, it your preparation is actually your preparation goes out of line when d4, knight f6 and knight f3 is played here. If knight f3, then all the e5 gambits are stopped. Okay, if you're playing d4 from white side and you are afraid of these gambits, you can first play knight f3 here and then put your pawn on c4. Okay, that will stop all the gambits of e5. So let's check. This is going to be an interesting game. E5, d takes e5, knight to g4, bishop to f4, and here knight c6 and bishop c5. I think their bishop c5 move is also there, which will directly put pressure on this f2 pawn. And let's see, knight to f3, bishop to b4 check, knight to c3, bishop takes c3, b takes c3. So this is one of the weaknesses that black has created in white's position, and which it will try to exploit sometime in the game. You can look, there are two double pawns. There's a couple of double pawns right now, e2 and e5, c3 and c4, both are double pawns. So queen e7 now, attacking this e5 pawn once, twice, and thrice with the queen, and it is just defended by knight and queen. So queen d5 is something which will probably try to support this pawn. Let's check what happened in the game, guys. So we have queen to d5, queen to a3. Now this queen takes c3 is a deadly threat which can capture the rook by doing a double attack. So we have rook to c1, who this rook is now being defended by this bishop. So if you are able to deflect this bishop, put him on g3, then this rook can be uh, could be free for you. So let's check now. So queen takes a2, pawn to h3, knight to h6, and pawn to e4, and knight to e7, queen to d2. Here queen takes d2, king takes d2, and now knight to g6. So black is right now actually punctured uh, in position after bishop takes h6, g takes h6. Then slightly black has to make sure that he reaches an ending where this a pawn can be the winning pawn for black. So black has to be safe and sound here and reach the ending as quickly as possible. He still has to solve the problem of this bishop, either b7. So white won this game. Let's check what happened in the game then later on. Yeah. So queen e7, queen d5, queen a3. This is what we saw actually. So we am just quickly fast for, yeah, this is the position, guys. So we have knight g6, bishop g3, castles, and now pawn to c5. Bishop rook to e8, now attacking this e4 pawn again, e5 pawn, bishop to b6, sorry, bishop pawn b6, c takes b6, this a takes b6, and now rook to a1, bishop b7. So rook has this open file now to at least create some chances. Rook takes a8, rook takes a8, and king to d3. Now we have this threat of rook to a4 can be played attacking this bishop, and then if this bishop is not supported, we can try to play bishop takes e4, king takes e4, and rook takes c4 then. Okay, so pawn c6. A pawn c6 is something I'm not happy about because you are just shutting down your bishop completely. Yeah, don't do that. Don't kill your pieces right on their square. So I can see a comment from Manish Chaurasia. Sir, I can play. Yes, Manish, you can play. There is a WhatsApp group link given in the description box. You can click on that link and join our WhatsApp group. Every day you will get the information about the live tournaments or the leeches tournaments. I can also see a comment from Sahil, but hi Sahil, hope you are doing well. Good to see you back on the live stream. I hope you are enjoying chess and your life as well. So pawn c6, rook to b1, and immediately you have created this weakness on b6 by pushing the pawn to c6. Don't make this c6 moves. Keep your bishops open. Play moves like rook a4, which will be attacking this bishop, and bishop takes e4, king takes e4, rook takes c4 can be played. But this is now the weakness which you have to push again. So pawn to b5. After this pawn structure, what is this bishop going to do? It's going to just sit inside, and this bishop is going to be the bad piece for the remaining part of the game. Don't play in this way, guys. Just try to make sure your pieces are active. So this bishop versus this bishop. This bishop is definitely better as compared to this position. Okay, don't lock your pieces, guys. Next, we have bishop to b3 and we have pawn to c5. A good threat again to get this bishop. So bishop d5 now, pawn to c4 check, king c2, and we have now rook to a2 check, rook to b2, rook takes b2, king takes b2, and this bishop is now hanging. So bishop probably will capture bishop c6. Okay, yeah. So bishop c6 is not a bad move, but this pawn is going to be weaknesses. This king is quickly going to come here and attack this pawn on c6 now. So king f8 and king to b4. So pawn means after the exchange. Okay, bishop takes, pawn takes, then this pawn is going to be the weak pawn. That's what I meant by saying the pawn. And then we have knight to e7, bishop takes c6, pawn takes c6, and bishop to h4. Now this knight would be in question because if bishop takes knight is allowed, and if king takes knight, then king takes c6, king takes b5, king takes c4, king just will move aside, and just this pawn can be pushed, or just king can take another route and try to create some play on the king side then. So we have knight to g8. So if bishop takes e7, knight takes e7, and then again we can support the c6 pawn. So we have knight to d4 now, putting more pressure on the d4. Now two attackers on d4, and this has to be defended by playing king to d7. So we have pawn to f4, pawn to g6, and pawn to g4, pawn to h5, bishop to g5, pawn takes g4, pawn takes g4, and king to c7 now. King c7 is not allowing this king to come on b6, a good move. And Sahil Bhatt is asking what is your FIDE rating. So my rating is 2048. I will share my profile with you after some time. FIDE profile, which will give you the details about my profile, about my rating. So it's 2048, Mr. Sahil. Pawn to f5, and we have pawn to f6. Dislodging this knight now. This knight is going to be out of the game, and then this f6 c6 pawn is going to be out of the board. Okay, and knight to c8, knight to c6, king to e6, and bishop to f4. Knight takes f6, a sacrifice there. Look at this knight, guys. This knight is miserable knight. It has no squares to go. So this, you have to make sure your pieces are not cramped. You should have more space. Your pieces should be in happy position, not in this cramped position, guys. So bishop to f4, knight to f6, knight to d4 check, and king to e7 first, and then f6, king takes f6, and then king takes b5. Now everything is falling. White is having an extra piece. He will soon have an extra pawn after king captures the pawn on c4, and pawn to g5, bishop to g3, knight to e7, king takes c4, and we have knight to g6 now. King to d5, king to e7, pawn to c4, king to d7, pawn to c5. And this is, I'm just fast forwarding now because this is an easy win for white, and this, yeah, this should be a quick win for white here. Black is just okay. You should not give away the position, guys. There is a proper possibility of a stalemate here. Okay, so king to e8, and we have pawn to c6, king to f7, pawn to king to d7, and this is where actually Black resigned. So let's go back to tournament, try to pick up the next request. So I can see a question from Manish sir. वैसे कौन गेम होते हैं? Sorry Manish, I cannot get your. ओके सो मनीष एंटायर शेड्यूल आपको व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप पे मिल जाएगा. आप व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप ज्वाइन करोगे एवरी मॉर्निंग. हमारा मैसेज आता है जिसमें आपका प्रॉपर शेड्यूल और सारे स्टेप्स दिए होते हैं कि आप कैसे खेल सकते हो, कैसे ज्वाइन कर सकते हो. सो प्लीज ज्वाइन द व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप गाइस, एंड मेक श्योर यू ऑल्सो लाइक एंड शेयर दिस वीडियो विथ maximum people, and also subscribe to the channel. So next request is from yes, so please analyze games of please analyze Shade 7. Okay, I think I have. I'm really sorry, guys, if I missed out your name from the request. But right now, in this request, I have Shades 7 who is requesting for the and people are asking me for the link. Okay, I'm just sharing the link with them, guys. Just give me a minute, please. Meanwhile, guys, you can we have started the new program of your Skype. You can call us on Skype and share your story on this live broadcast. So Shades is what we were looking for. Shades. If you want to call us, just mention in the comment section. We will be sharing your. We will be sharing our. Where is Shades actually? Shade 7. Yeah. If I click there, yeah. So he has lost to Manish Kapoor. Let's check this game, and. And Sahil Bhatt says, thank you very much for answering my question. Always welcome, Sahil. I'm happy to answer all your questions, all your queries. So we have knight f3, pawn c6, pawn d4, pawn d5, pawn g3, knight to d7, bishop g2, pawn to e6, castles, bishop d6, pawn c4, and knight to e7. So this is again a nice way to play from black side, just putting the knights here. Of course, this bishop is not in the best of its position. It will take some time for this bishop to come out, probably by playing b6, bishop b7, or later in the game if black plays e5, this bishop can come out. But this is again, you can see this might be this is actually a Slav defense variation where the knight is not on f6, it is on e7, and this knight will come to d7 and it will go to f6. But then bishop g5 might put black in bit of question, because this f6 knight, if bishop captures, then captures, and there will be double pawn on the f file, which is not good for black. So let's see what happened in the game. C takes and e takes. So this again and again I am telling you guys. Okay, so Vishal, I can see your comment how the stalemate is possible, but there is some lag in the your comments and the actual stream. So stalemate, how it is possible? Yes, if the king has nowhere to go, there are no moves, then it is a stalemate. I can explain you later in the comment section, Vishal. I'll definitely answer your question after some time, but let me just complete this game first. So this, guys, this pawn structure which I'm trying to explain, wherein this there are pawns on a7, b7, c6, and d5. There is a pawn on d4, pawn on e3, f2, g2, and h2. This is called as the Carlsbad pawn structure. I'm just writing the actual spelling of that. Carls, Carlsbad pawn structure. Okay, so this is what you have to learn, guys, because this Carlsbad pawn structure teaches you Lots and lots of ideas, new winning techniques. This Carlsbad pawn structure is a beautiful pawn structure. You should definitely learn this. Okay, so let's go ahead in the game. We had knight c3 here. From let's see what is the yeah knight c3 castles and pawn to e4, d takes e4, knight takes e4, and bishop goes to d7 now. And this actually has now converted into the pano variation of Caro-Kann defense. Caro-Kann defense is when white plays e4 and black plays c6, that is called as a Caro-Kann defense. And in Caro-Kann defense, white can play c4 as a second move. Then there is a possibility of playing e6 and then d5. So pawn takes, pawn takes, pawn takes, and then knight can capture the d5 pawn, and this position occurs. So this is the pano variation of the Khan defense. I'm just putting the name in the comment section that you can check. So it is the Pano variation. And those who players like to play open attacks, just you can open positions, open openings, which uh, if you like, you can learn the Khan defense or Sicilian defense. It is a very nice defense from black side. Anatoly Karpov, who was one of the best players in the world, he was one of the best players of Karo-Kann defense. So you can check his games if you want to learn the Karo-Kann defense. So knight to d5, bishop to e3, the rook to e8, and knight to d6. Now on d6, actually, this knight is attacking the e8 as well as the c8 squares. I can see a comment from Manish Chaurasia. Sir, I don't have any FIDE rating. How can I get? So Manish, there are three videos that I have made on FIDE rating, what is FIDE rating and how you can achieve the FIDE rating. So please check my videos list. You will be getting these videos in Hindi. They are beautiful videos. I have also taught you how you can calculate the rating, how to plan for getting FIDE rating. Everything I have explained that in those videos. If possible, I will share the video link after the broadcast is done in this comment section of this video. So bishop takes d6, bishop takes d6, and we have knight to f6 here. And this bishop is now hanging. The queen is attacking this bishop. So bishop will come back to the e5 square, but still, actually, I think knight c4 is a deadly move here, which will attack this bishop. And then again, this bishop can be captured by a knight. And that's not what was played. Bishop was played to g4, pawn to h3, bishop to h5, queen to d3, and we have bishop to g6, queen d1 back. So don't waste these moves like Shades. If you're listening to this commentary, this is just to call out to you. Shades, this is your game and you have played queen d3 and queen d1 black. Don't waste your moves. Do not waste your moves. Invest them in development or in the attack. So right now you could have played instead of queen d3. I'm just going back a couple of moves. This was the position, guys. And instead of playing queen d3 to get rid of this pin, you can just play rook to e1, or even you can try to play rook to c1 or something which will help you to develop. You can also try this pawn to g4. It is not the best way to continue, but at least this spin will be you will be getting rid of the spin. Then this knight can go to h4 and try to capture the bishop on g6. After pawn to g4, bishop to g6, knight to h4, and knight takes g6 is going to be not a bad position for white. And black is also fine after that, but this is one of the way to get rid of this annoying pins that you always angry when this bishop is not allowing this knight to move. Okay, so then let's go by ahead. Queen d3 was played, bishop g6, queen to d1, and knight to e4, bishop to, so now this f6 bishop can be trapped. So white has to be careful here. So knight to h4 and knight to c3, queen to e1, and now f6. Yeah, so queen e1 is a blunder here from white side because this bishop now gets pinned. So this bishop should not have been put on e5 in the first place. f6 is something that will just take this bishop out of the board, and then black is going to win this game easily. Knight takes g6 was played first, f takes h takes c6. Now again, important point. Here you can see that your bishop is going to go for free because this pawn is going to capture. Okay, and then you will be left with knight, bishop, and two rooks. So if you are piece down, always remember, don't exchange your pieces. Don't exchange your pieces if you are piece down. If you're having less pieces, try to create a mating attack. Try to develop check and mate on your opponent. If you exchange the pieces, then there would be an ending which will be coming very soon in the game, and ending will be in favor of your opponent, as your opponent will be having an extra piece. So whenever your opponent has extra piece, don't exchange. Try to create some mating attack, mating patterns. Remember the mating patterns and try to create some mating attack on your opponent. So knight takes g6 was not the perfect move here because that will help black to reach ending very quickly. Now see, after exchanges, what is happening? Knight takes g6, pawn takes g6, and bishop takes d5. So white has started exchanging everything right now, which will lead to his loss very quickly. Okay, now black is happy because white is not having any pieces which can deliver a check and mate on black king. Black is very happy in this position. Don't make your opponent happy right now. So pawn to f4, and this g3 pawn is now hanging. So queen takes g3 was simple winning move here. Queen takes g3, queen takes h3, and I think the game is over after that, because queen takes g3 check, king to h1, or even queen takes g2, queen g2 is okay. We can just capture the queen. So queen takes g3, king h1, queen to h3 check, king come backs to g1, queen come back to g3 check, king goes to the h1 square, and then we can play king f7, threatening this rook to h8 check and mate. Okay, so that is what black could have played. But black played queen f5 and queen f3 was played. Queen takes h3, rook to f2, rook to f8 and rook to h2, queen to f5 and rook to e1. Rook to e8, we have king to g2, queen to c2 check, rook to e2, queen to c3, queen to d5 and rook to f5, pawn to e6. And here I think now slowly white is losing the grip on the position. And yeah, queen to f3, rook to d2, queen to e3 again. With the support of this knight, it's attacking both the pieces. So now the exchange is compulsory. Queen to f5, and yeah, this is nice technique now. So because if queen takes, okay, queen takes d2 is check first, so black is okay. So queen takes d2 check, king moves, and now queen f7 check is the threat. So black has to take care of that. So queen h6 check, king to g2, and queen takes e6. Everything is finished. There is nothing that white can do now, and hence black resigned. White is just left with the queen, which is not helpful, guys. If you want to win, you should have more pieces in the on the game. Let's go back to the tournament, guys, and try to find out the next request. How much time is left? Is the time done? Okay, the tournament is over. So this is the final ranking of 82nd Khelo Chess India team battle. Prayagraj future GMs have won today's 82nd Khelo Chess India team battle with 149 points, and BCC is just following them with 141 points, not so far behind. A close competition for the first place. And look at Chennai Chess Club; they are tied on third place with BCC, but there is some buckholes and progressives and other stuff which gets calculated in the background, and then the position is decided who is second and who is third. Even though the points are same, the position, the ranking might change in chess. So we have Gujarat Lions not so far behind on 134, closing up on this first and second positions. Sorry, second and third positions. Then we have Chess Blasters on 94 points. Then Kilo Chess India on 84 points. Congrats, My Shakti, for coming first in the group. And then we have Wild Frog, Karthik, King Enraj, and Superman, and Ding Dong 7, and Bajrang Band. Okay, Abhi Chess Club is on 84. Then we have Golden Castle Chess Club from Sri Lanka, 45 points, and Warriors from Sri Lanka again with 13 points. So it was a beautiful tournament, guys, and uh, beautiful tournament, and beautiful games for everyone as well. So today, actually, Queen Love is first with 26 points. I'm not sure how this. Okay, the rating is less, and there are some allegations in the comment section also that someone cheated. But right now, we cannot comment on that. And okay, and there are few comments from Manish Chaurasia. Manish says, I want to get 2000 rating in 1 year. Can I get? Yes, Manish, you can definitely get. I have released two interviews with the IMs, and both IMs have said that if you want to get good rating, if you want to achieve titles, you have to study for minimum 3 hours per day, and 3 hours should include your middle game, end game, and opening study. You have to analyze your games, but you have to be disciplined and you have to keep practicing again and again. There is another question, sir. आप बहुत अच्छे अच्छे point बता रहे हैं. Really, thank you, Manish. It's all for chess. I'm really happy when I contribute to chess and someone gets uh, the benefit of this live broadcast. Okay, so it's all for you guys. You can still ask your questions, your queries, and I'm really sorry, guys. Today there were some problems with the stream, so initial part of the stream you might not be able to hear the audio, or there is lag on the video, but there was the network problem, there was a YouTube problem, there were multiple problems, but I tried to just get everything clear and got this live broadcast for you guys. So I hope you have liked the video. Whenever before closing the stream, I request you to please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share with your friends as much as possible. Let our family expand to your friends and family. Let them uh, let them join our tournaments, play our tournaments. There are a lot of videos which you can watch on our channel, and everything here is for you guys. Nothing is chargeable, everything is free. So just a request for you to subscribe to the channel and share with your friends. I'll just check if there is any what is the allocation in the comment chat room. So Shivam Sabat says, Ashwin Shenoy says, analyze if you have time. Shades with Ganesh. Cheers. Sorry, Ashwin, today we have ran out of time. There was some network issues, so I was not able to analyze all of the games. But today, please, I will do tomorrow. I'll try to get your games, Ashwin. No problem. And Ashwin is having his tournament on. So let me show you guys what are the upcoming tournaments now for the Khelo Chess India team. If you're joined my team, I'll just show you that what are the upcoming tournaments. So we have two big tournaments coming up very soon. First is the first CCC international team battle, which is on 27th June 5:30 p.m. India. This is Friday, coming Friday. You can join this. This is being organized by Ganesh. Ganesh is our very good friend. He is from Chennai Chess Club. He has organized this tournament. And second, we have multi-nation cup battle. This is the Mayank who organizes. Mayank is our Khelo Chess India's teammate who helps me out. So thanks, Mayank. Mayank and Mr. Narendra Mudliar both are very hardworking chess players. They are helping Khelo Chess India a lot. So thanks to both of you guys. And second multi-nation cup is being organized by Mayank. So you can join my team Khelo Chess India and you can play all this beautiful events wherein there are international teams joining in from different countries, and it's going to be absolutely beautiful. Ganesh, I can see your comment for the live commentary for your tournament, but at that time I might be on my job. I have to work on Fridays. It's not off for me. I get free at around 7:30 or 8, and then quickly I have to have my dinner and start with the live broadcast. But Friday it would be difficult for me. If it is 27th is Saturday actually, I think. If I'm not wrong, 27th is Saturday. So yes, I think I can do that. Ganesh, 27th is Saturday. Yes, sorry Ganesh. So 27th is Saturday. I can do that live streaming for you. So let's check, and then we have a second multi nations tournament that is on. Mm, that is on 28th, that is Sunday at 7 p.m. that you can play, guys. You can play from my team Khelo Chess India. We have Gujarat Lions, one of our beautiful teams, and Khelo Chess India, my team as well. And you can play from either of those teams. So that's all from this commentary, guys. I cannot see any more questions in the comment section. If you have anything, please ask, and I will be happy to answer your questions. Please subscribe to the channel, share with your friends, and like the video. And tomorrow again, I'll try